Good morning to everyone. Today I am going to explain few human rights. Contents I will be explaining in this module are history of human rights, right to equality before law, right to own property, right of education, freedom from state or personal interference in the above rights. History of human rights. Before independence or before the constitution was kept into effect, people were treated equally. In the ancient times, a Vedic code was a famous Vedic code said, "Let everyone be free, let everyone free from all ills." In the Vedic times also, the people were treated equally, irrespective of their caste. Although in the ancient times, only caste discrimination was the major discrimination, the kings were supposed to treat the people equally irrespective of their caste or their status. Kautilya had pleaded with the king to protect the rights of the people and also the dignity of the people. Arthashastra not only dealt with the civil and political rights formulated by Manu and also included several economic rights for the people. Right to equality. Article 1. Right to equality is the major human rights which is possessed by every Indian. So this right to equality states that every person, irrespective of their caste, race or birthplace, religion or caste or gender, is equal before the law and they must get equal rights as the other people, and it will not dishonor any individual or group, and nobody will get a special privilege, and also untouchability will be abolished. All citizens have equal access to public places like shops, restaurants, hotels, multiplexes. No restrictions will be kept to certain group of people. It is not a rule of men but a liberty enjoyed by the people. Some major discrimination that used to happen in those days were discrimination based on their economic status. The rich always humiliated the poor, and also the lower caste people were kept to study separately or made to sit separately with everyone. Here we can see the whole group sitting together and learning, but a poor girl is left on the corner of the room. This is caste discrimination. Gender discrimination. Gender discrimination was common in those days. Women were treated unequal to the men, and women were supposed to be the inferior gender and men were the superior gender. Race discrimination. Race discrimination is not a major type of discrimination in our country, but it is common in the English speaking countries. There, it is the white people are like the higher people are, and the black people are mistreated. White people humiliate and dishonor black people. Religion discrimination. As we saw in grade 7, the Ansaris were mistreated because they were not allowed to live in the same apartment because they were Muslims. Although the owners had given the excuse of eating non-veg, but they could also smell fish being cooked in the neighbor house. So many religions are being mistreated. Equality before the law. Shraddha, you're in mute. Equality before the law. Equality before the law states that Something similar to the equality right which we have studied earlier. Equality before the law states that every single person is equal under the law and will be treated equally, and if found the way like if found the criminal will be proven equally guilty. Yeah. For example, if suppose a major incident like a theft or a murder is taken place in a public place like a hotel, there are three major suspects, and one is a very rich person, the other one is a woman, and the another guy belongs to a very low caste. First, they must investigate very correctly and do not put the blame on someone who is of the lower caste or who is mistreated. So everyone should be treated equally guilty if they have found. No discrimination done. All are equal before the law and are entitled without any discrimination and equal protection of the law. Everyone must be treated equally under law regardless of their race, gender or color, ethnicity, religion or disability or any other characteristics. Without any privilege, discrimination or bias, everyone is equal before the law. Only few mention the right to equality regardless of the nationality. Article 17, right to property. So, here's an example. An 80-year-old woman was her land of 10 acres was taken away by the government to construct a road. So no one can take their own. The government cannot take their own property without the state cannot take possession of it without due and procedure and authority of the law. The old woman was taken the land, but the government took the land to construct a road. But then she was given a check of 1 crore rupees because they have taken the land without her permission. Right to education. Right to education has been made mandatory this time. Every child between ages of 6 and 15 must study and go to school. And if they are not able to afford, government schools are ready to accept them and give them a free education. And also 25% of the seats are reserved to lower caste people or poor people. Kids who are admitted in private schools based on economic status or caste-based reservation. It also prohibits that all unrecognized schools from practice. And no student must be taken on the basis of the donation they give, or no student can be held back or expelled or human rights, freedom from state or personal interference in the above rights. So, Article 30 of the Indian Constitution states that even the government is not allowed to take away the rights, basic human rights which are given to them. The rights must be enjoyed by every single human and they are necessary for everyone to happy, live happily. Thanks for
that regardless sex, race, nationality, ethnicity, language, religion, or any other status. Human rights include the right to life and liberty, freedom from slavery and torture, freedom of option and expression, the right to work and education, and many more. There are 30 basic human rights and they were established on 10 December 1948. Uh, the articles I I'm going to explain today are Article 2, which states freedom from discrimination and slavery, Article 3, which states right to life, liberty, personal security, Article 15, that states right to nationality and freedom to change it, Article 18, freedom of belief and religion, Article 29, community duties essential to free and full developments. Article 2, freedom from discrimination. Article 2 states that everyone is entitled to all freedoms listed in UDHR, which is Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It states, without distinction of any kind, such as race, color, sex, language, religion, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, or status. These, this article conveys to prevent race and color discrimination and respect spiritual, culture, and racial differences everywhere in world. Refuse to initiate, participate, or condone discrimination and harassment. Avoid race-based or culture offense, humor, or pranks. An example of this is a landlord who refuses to allow a person with certain disability to rent an apartment because the other tenants do not want to have a neighbor with that disability. Another example is discriminating a gay or bisexual or other genders. Some people may have negative attitudes towards a gay or a bisexual. These attitudes can lead to discrimination, to lead to the rejection by friends and family, discriminatory acts and violence, and laws and policies with negative consequences. Article 3, it states right to life, liberty, and personal security. This article protects us from torture, which can be mental or physical, inhuman or degrading treatment or punishment, and deportation and extradition. That this means being sent to another country to face criminal charges. If there is real risk, you will face torture or inhuman or degrading treatment or punishment in other country concerned, such as an example. A young man with mental problems was placed in residential care. During a visit, his parents noticed bruising on his body. They raised the issue with the care managers and their concerns were dismissed. They were also banned from visiting their son. The parents raised their son's right not to be treated in an inhuman and degrading way and their right to respect for family life. The ban on visits was revoked and bruising on the young man's body was investigated. No one shall be subjected to torture or to inhuman or degrading treatment or punishment. People encouraging and practicing such activities are rightfully punished under this law. Article 15, right to nationality and freedom to change it. Everyone has the right to nationality. No one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his nationality, not denied to the right to change his nationality. If a person does not have a nationality, it may be impossible for them to go to school, see a doctor, get a job, open a bank account, or even get married. Millions of people around the world are in this situation. They are stateless. A stateless person is a person who is not considered as a national by any state under the operation of its law. It also says that not only taking nationality as inheritance from parents, but everyone has a right to change their citizenship or nationality under certain rules of the country you want to live in. Article 18, freedom of belief and religion. Everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. This right includes freedom to change his religion or belief, and freedom, either alone or in community with others and in public or private, to manifest his religion or belief in teaching, practice, worship, and observance. Article 18 does not permit any limitations whatever so on the freedom of thought and conscience, or the freedom to have or adopt a religion or belief of one's choice. The committee observes that the freedom to have or to adopt A religion or belief necessarily entails the freedom to choose a religion or belief, including the right to replace one's current religion or belief with another or to adopt atheistic views, as well as the right to retain one's religion or belief. Article 29. Everyone has duties to the community in which alone and free and full development of his personality is possible. In the exercise of his rights and freedoms, everyone shall be subject only to such limitations as are determined by law solely for the purpose of securing due recognition and respect for the rights and freedoms of others, of meeting the just requirements of morality, people order, public order, and the general welfare in democratic society. And no one are to be discriminated against the person's decision on his or her rights and freedom. Article 29 also says that the rights are not limited. If they were, social balance and harmony would be impossible. Human rights of a person are secured and observed by government. Protecting our rights and as well as others would give you a great appreciation. Protect the rights and follow them. Stop discrimination. Set the people free from fear, free from slavery, and let them describe their expression and emotion.
Okay, start
By
writing.
UDHR, there are only like 30. Like they
Okay,
made those 30.
correct.
Important. Yeah, I like the basic. Okay. Or 30. Okay, shall I start?
Yeah.
Namaste, I'm Pragna Alankshita Pulipaka of Class 9 and today I'll be presenting about human rights. Human rights are essential for each person. Let's use them every day as our compass to seek justice, peace, equality, and freedom for all. Few of those rights are Article 6, right to recognition as a person before the law. Article 10, right to fair public hearing. Article 14, right to asylum in other countries from persecution. And Article 22, right to social security. And Article 24, right to rest and leisure. Article 6, right to recognition as a person before the law. Article 6 states that everyone has the right to recognition everywhere as a person before the law, regardless of whether they are citizens or immigrants, students or tourists, workers or refugees, or any other group. The Declaration recognizes the human rights of individuals who are not nationals of the country in which they live and recognize the need to expand the guarantee of human rights specifically to persons who live in countries without having a citizenship. Consequently, the declaration, which was adopted by General Assembly Resolution 40 by 144 of 13 December 1985, is especially noteworthy. The document contains 10 articles of a lawful alien and determine that the requirement of states to make their own national legislations and regulations about aliens accessible to the public. Article 10, right to fair public hearing. Everyone is entitled in full equality to a fair and public hearing by an independent and impartial tribunal in the determination of of their rights and obligations and of any criminal charge against themselves. A fair trial or hearing is an open trial by an impartial judge in which all parties are treated equally. The right to fair trial is one of the fundamental guarantee of human rights and rule of law aimed at ensuring administration of justice. Fair trial includes fair and proper opportunities allowed by the law to prove innocence. Article 14, right to asylum in other countries from persecution. Everyone has the right to seek and to enjoy in other countries asylum from persecution. This right may not be invoked in the case of prosecutions genuinely arising from non political crimes or from acts contrary to the purposes and principles of the United Nations, UN. Article 22, right to social security. Everyone, as a member of the society, has the right to social security and is entitled to realization through national effort and international cooperation and in accordance with the organization and resources of each state. The economic, social, and cultural rights indispensable for his dignity and the free development of his personality. The right to social security is recognized as a human right and establishes the right to security assistance for those unable to work due to sickness, disability, maternity, employment injury, unemployment, or old age. Social security systems provided by the states consist of social insurance programs, provide earned and benefits for workers and their families by employment contributions, and or social assistance programs which provide non-contributory which designed to provide minimum levels of social security to persons unable to access social insurance. Article 24, right to rest and leisure. Everyone has the right to rest and leisure, including reasonable limitation of work hours and periodic holidays with pay. People should not work for a very long time and they need rest. The right to rest and leisure is economic, social, and cultural to adequate time away from work and other societal responsibilities. It is linked to the right to work and historical movements for legal limitations on working hours. Today, the right to leisure and rest is recognized in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, the Convention on the Rights of the Child, and in many regional texts such as the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of Child. Hope you understood what these articles are and how important they are. Thank you.
Are you showing?
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
Yeah. Good morning to everyone. This is Harshil from Class 9-A. Today we are going to see some of the human rights. First of all, what are human rights? Human rights are rights to all human beings regardless of race, gender, nationality, caste, religion, or any other status. Human rights include right to equality, freedom from slavery, and freedom of expression, right to work, and many more. Today we are going to see some of them. We are going to say about the Article 4, which is freedom from slavery. Article 19, freedom of opinion and information. Article 20, right of peaceful assembly and association. Article 23, right to desirable work and to join trade unions. Article 25, right to adequate living standard. First, Article 4, freedom from slavery. No one shall be held in slavery. Slavery and the slave trade in all their forms shall be prohibited. No one shall be held in servitude. As you know, in the past, the slave trade was there between the three continents where they traded slaves to work in their fields and plantations. Example. In North Uganda, the LRA, Lord's Resistance Army, guerrillas have kidnapped 20,000 children over the past 20 years and forced to work. This is slavery. We have to stop these kinds of things. For example, again, children as young as 5 are trafficked out of the country to work in cotton fields in southern Senegal or as beggars in the capital city. Children with age of 5 to 14 are tricked with false promises of education and future into dangerous unpaid jobs and service as soldiers. So they are kidnapping and making them as slaves and to work for the country. This is wrong. Next is Article 19, freedom of opinion and information. The Article 19 says everyone has the right to freedom of opinion and expression. This right includes freedom to hold opinions without interference and to seek and receive and impart information and their ideas through any media and regardless of frontiers. Everyone shall have the right to hold opinions without interference. Everyone shall have the right to freedom of expression. This right shall include freedom to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas of all kinds, regardless of frontiers, either orally or in writing or in print, in this form of art or through any other media of his choice. The exercise of the rights provided paragraph of this article carries with it special duties and responsibilities. It may therefore be subject to certain restrictions, but these shall only be such as are provided by law and are necessary for respect of these rights or reputation of others, for protection of national security or of public order or of public health or
morals. Next is Article 20, right of peaceful assembly and association. Article 20, or freedom of expression, with freedom of expression together ensure the right to gather publicly or privately and collectively express or promote, pursue, and defend common interests. Everyone has the right to freedom of peaceful assembly and association. No one can be compelled or to belong in one association. They can change their associations, form their new associations, and they can do strikes or anything to defend the common interest of many people. Next is Article 23, right to desirable work. Everyone has the right to work, to free choices of employment, to work, and favorable conditions of work, and to protect against unemployment. Everyone, without any discrimination, has the right to equal pay for their equal work. Everyone has a right to form and to trade and to join trade unions for the protection of his interests. Next is Article 25, right to adequate living standard. Article 25 covers a wide range of rights, including those to adequate food, water, sanitation, clothing, housing, and medical care, and as well as social protection, covering situations beyond one's control, such as disability, widowhood, unemployment, and old age. So they have the right to all these adequate food, water, sanitation, and basic facilities. Motherhood and childhood are entitled to special care and assistance. All children, whether born in or out of wedlock, shall enjoy the same social protection. Thank you.
My name is S.P. Rao, and now I am going to tell about some of the human rights. Before going into the presentation, what are human rights? Human rights are the rights given to every person in the world, no matter their social status, their gender, or any other discrimination. I'll be explaining about Article 5, freedom from torture and degrading treatment. Article 8, right to remedy by competent tribunal. Article 9, freedom from arbitrary arrest and exile. Article 11, right to be considered innocent until proven guilty. Article 12, freedom from interference with privacy, family, home, and correspondence. Freedom against torture and degrading treatment. On this article, many of the articles were passed by the UDHR on December 10th, 1948, but were accepted by the Indian government in the early 1949 or in the January of 1949. The General Assembly of United Nations adopted and proclaimed the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It has been translated to more than 350 languages worldwide and more than 100 African languages. There is one absolute provision in Universal Declaration of Human Rights, UDHR, that is universally accepted as unequivocal. Article 5 is unequivocal. Article 5's ban on torture. At times, states may have disputed the definitions of what constitutes torture, but virtually none openly defended the practice, even if some still carry it out in what UN High Commissioner from Human Rights describes as some of the darkest corners of our planet. The ban on torture is so absolute that UN body charged with monitoring the prevention of torture has recommended even training soldiers should remain that they have duty to disobey orders from a superior officer to commit torture. And while an interrogation, if a person is of the nation that he has been captured in, can be subjected to harsh treatment only if it is absolutely necessary, like in case of terrorism. This article is so absolutely considered strict that even a soldier has to can disobey the orders they got from creating any torture to other person. This can be followed in any nation around the world. Right to remedy by competent tribunals. The article was implemented in 1935. It was later modified in 1949 to the present right that I am going to discuss. Everyone charged with a criminal offense shall have the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty according to law. This is related to the Article 11, but it's more complicated. This says that even if a person is proven guilty, he can approach the other courts or higher level of courts if if he considers himself as innocent. While the law and the constitution may provide you with fundamental rights, this does not mean that these will always be respected in every case. If a certain right is violated, you must always be able to turn or appeal to a competent with a higher level of court, like from district court to high court or high court to Supreme Court. Freedom from arbitrary arrest and exile. Everyone has the right to liberty and security of a person. No one shall be subjected to arbitrary arrest or detention if they don't have a particular reason. No one shall be deprived of his liberty except on such grounds in accordance with such procedure as are established by the law. This states that a person cannot be arrested or exiled from his country if he is not proven guilty by a particular law in the Constitution. Everyone has the right to liberty and security of a person. No one shall be subjected to arbitrary arrest or detention or exile. No one shall be deprived. This law too was put to power in 1949 in India. Right to be considered innocent until proven guilty. Everyone charged with a penal offense has the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty according to law in a public trial at which he has all the guaranteed necessary for his defense. No one shall be held guilty of any penal offense on account of any act or omission which did not constitute a penal offense under national or international law at time when it was committed. Nor should a heavier penalty be imposed than the one was applicable at time when the penal offense was committed. This states that no one can be pointed guilty without a particular reason to be pointed guilty and cannot be punished if on a higher level of offense if he did not commit it. If a person is took as guilty and arrested in a police station, that is not fair because it is violating the law, which is Article 11. He is not proven guilty, so he cannot be put in jail without a particular reason. Freedom from interference with privacy, family, home, and correspondence. No one shall be subjected to arbitrary interference with his privacy, family, home, or correspondence, nor to attack upon his honor and reputation. Everyone has the right to protection of the law against such interference or attacks. The right to privacy is an element of various legal traditions to restrain governmental and private actions that threaten the privacy of individuals. Over one. On 10th December 1948, the United Nations General Assembly adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which included this law too. The words right to privacy is not written in document, however. Many interpret this by reading Article 12. This states that no one can interfere in your personal matters or your family or your correspondence. Like anyone cannot find your personal details like your Aadhaar card number or any bank account details. This right is seriously violated nowadays because many get messages in the phone about a lottery or anything and ask their bank details and they get corrupted. This is violating Article 12. Thank you.
Ma'am, now I am going to present.
Okay.
This means that you can leave your country and be able to come back and you are free to choose where you live. Let's go to Article 16, right to marriage.
Okay. It will be over in 2 minutes.
Men and women of full age without any limitation due to race, nationality or religion have the right to marry and find a family. They are entitled to equal rights as to marriage, during marriage, and at its dissolution. Marriage shall be entered only with the full consent of the intending partner. The family is the fundamental unit that protects the society and the state. This means that grown-ups should be allowed to marry regardless of characteristics. Article 21. Right to take part in government. Everyone has the right to take part in government on his country, directly or through freely chosen relative. Everyone has the right to equal access of public services in this country. The will of people shall be basis of authority of government, which shall be expressed in periodic or genuine election by universal and shall be held in by secret vote or by equivalent free voting procedures. Everyone has their own choice and the right to be a part of the government and to vote. Article 27. Right to participate in cultural life. Everyone has the right to freely to participate in cultural life of their community, to enjoy the art and to share scientific advancement and its benefit. Everyone has the right to the production of moral and material interests resulting from any scientific or artistic production of which he is an author. Everyone has the right to enjoy art and science and you should be benefit from the work. Article 28. Right to social and international order. Everyone is entitled to a social and international order in which the right and freedom can be fully realized. Which means everyone is entitled to respect. Everyone is entitled to rule by a government or city with laws and election. Here I end with human rights for all with trust, justice, love, rule of law, peace.